Hey guys, we're coming up on that 2-week mark for the 14-day Apple return policy. So it's time to make a decision. Should I keep the Apple Vision Pro or should I return it? Ooh, well, let's talk about it. Apple went out of their way to make this not a VR headset. I have a lot of experience using VR in the past. I was a very early adopter about 10 years ago. So I've used the original version where you took your phone and you put it in the headset. I had an Oculus Rift. I've had the HTC Vive, which was really cool. We use what's called Matterport to create these 360 tours. That way, people can virtually experience. They have what's called the dollhouse. You can kind of, spin that property around, jump into different places. It's really cool. So back then, we were taking those types of tours, whether it was through that or another company called Real Vision, and we're actually porting it over and making it explorable within VR. And so with that, you'd be able to look around in the 360 pano, and then you could also look at a space and jump to the next panographic spot. By and large, what we found is that it was rather gimmicky. Not a lot of people want to put on a headset to look at a house. They're having a better experience, on their computer or using an iPad to explore the space. And so using the tours in 360 with the headset never really took off, but it's cool to be able to show people that you can do that. What's interesting about the Apple Vision Pro in my mind is that, again, it's not a VR headset. So a lot of the existing immersive VR content and games are not compatible at all. I think of this more as a mixed reality or augmented reality headset. So the passive is really good on this. We put the headset on, and for me, I've got the lenses, the custom lenses in here, so I don't need to wear my glasses. But when I put this headset on, other than the resolution's slightly less. And the field of view is going to be a little bit lower because essentially you're putting goggles on. But the pass-through for me, I think, looks great. It's better than any other headset that I've used in the past, whether it's a Quest 2 or the Quest 3. Looks fantastic. So I can walk around my house, no problem. I was able to interact with people, interact with our pets, pick things up. I ate with it on. I actually could look at my phone and read it just fine. I could use the computer. Obviously, I wouldn't drive. I'm not stupid like that, but very passable. And so this opens up this gateway of spatial computing. And so it's something that you really just have to experience. You can create these windows. I can have a window above me, a window to my side. You can move around. If I leave the room and I come back, that window actually stays in the same place. So a pretty cool concept there. What I found it was really great for was having YouTube videos going, but then also checking my email, keeping up on social media, and moving around our house. The thing is that only you can see what's on there. So if you have a spouse, and you can't really share these experiences, and it's kind of weird for them because they're looking at you and they just see the blue. They don't know what you're looking at. Whereas if you have your phone, they can tell that you glanced over to them. There is the eyesight thing, but it's kind of weird. So one of the things I did notice was difficulty selecting small items. So I really recommend using a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse if you're going to use it for actual computer purposes. But the idea that they have is that, okay, we've got your Mac, right? And now you're extending that space and you're adding additional monitors or larger monitors, which in theory is great. However, I've got a great setup right here. I've got a monitor in front of me. I've got a monitor to my right. I've got my prompter here. It's high quality. It's easy to go in between them. Whereas with the Windows, they're sometimes in spatial computing, they were a little bit overlapping. You can't really look at one thing but be controlling something else. You have to actually be looking at what you're controlling. And so that makes typing in particularly challenging. So if you're deleting something, you actually have to keep looking at the delete button. So having a keyboard obviously would help that. I think if I was traveling, the Apple Vision Pro would be great in replacing a computer. I think there's a lot of things that I do day to day that I could get done, on that would be a little bit better than having to haul around a computer. I don't know that it's going to replace my desktop anytime soon. The thing I liked the most, though, was the 3D content. So any of the movies on Disney Plus or Apple TV that are made for 3D just look incredible. And if you think about the traditional 3D method, you're going to the movie theater and you get the glasses, and I never really thought that was that great of an experience. But with the Apple Vision Pro, I was just blown away. It was an awesome experience. It Again, the limitation is that only one person can view this at a time, and so unless you had two headsets, and currently there's not a way to do like the share play. I think they'll have support for that in the future, but right now it's just an individual experience. So, and then once you get through like the 3D content that's available right now, it's kind of like, okay, well, what else? So I think in the future, once we have more experiences and they're doing like live sports and concerts and stuff that are exclusive to the Apple Vision Pro, that'll be awesome. Like that's going to be just game changing. But some people are saying, okay, well now I can create this great big TV anywhere I want. So like, do I even need a theater? Do I need a really big TV? Well, I think you still do, because again, this is just an individual experience, and so a lot of times you're going to be viewing with a friend or a spouse, significant other, and you want to be able to watch that together. So unless you have the two headsets, it's kind of a limitation there. And we have a nice theater here in our home. We really love watching movies on it, and I don't think it's an either or type situation. I love watching the 3D content on the Vision Pro, and if my wife's not watching with me, I guess that's probably what I would prefer. But the other thing to think about is audio. And so we've invested quite a bit into our audio setup in our theater. We've got the full Dolby 7.1 surround sound. It's a great experience. But even using the AirPods with the Vision Pro, the audio is just not the same. So you do get the spatial audio, but like you don't get that deep bass. So what you could do actually is be wearing the headset and then cast your audio out, to your receiver. So we have the Denon. That would be compatible, and that could be a cool experience. The next thing I want to talk about is personas. They're super creepy. There's no way I could jump into a Zoom meeting or a FaceTime call with someone and have them take me seriously with that old-looking, ghostly persona that was created. Like, it's just so distracting. Maybe if everyone had them, it would be fine. But like, if you're interacting with somebody else and they're just on a regular FaceTime with their camera, and you're got this weird persona thing going, it's weird. So hopefully we see some improvement in that space. I will say it's better than Meta with the cartoony looking ones, but they've got a ways to go on that. As far as smart home applications go, the Apple Home dashboard pulls up right in there, so you can control any device as you normally would. That's HomeKit. One thing that I thought was pretty slick is that you've got the headset on, and so Siri is just always available to do anything you want. And so one thing that I was doing when we were in our theater is that you can actually have the lights up. That way you can see what's around you. Eat popcorn. For me, it was picked up the dog, set him next to me, and was petting him. I had light in the room, but the screen was still full black. So crazy resolution, which isn't something you could get with a traditional TV or projector. So that was really cool. But just going around my house and being able to control things, it was neat. Obviously, I can already do that with my phone or with our voice assistants, so not a huge ad there. I did see somebody else on their channel had done like the shortcut buttons, and they'd place them near switches, but really you could just control that anyways, with the physical switch those on the wall or through your app or by voice. So I didn't really see a big value add there. And then as you like move away or like you end your session and then you come back, all those tabs are gonna move. And so if I placed it here in front of me and it was like a button to control these lights here, that would be fine for now. But then later on it might get moved, or you'd have to like reset it up. And so I don't know how practical that is. It is fun to be able to see the different devices pulling. What I think would be cool is if I could like look at this fan and it would know like which room I'm in, and then just be able to like pinch and turn it on. So maybe we'll get there in the future. When I got this headset, I was really excited to jump into one of our 3D tours and look at a property with a high resolution because it is 4K for each eye. However, I was really disappointed when I found out that the existing experiences don't actually work. And so you can pull up a 360 tour. However, instead of being fully immersed in it, it's actually just opening up a window and you're controlling it with that. And so despite the Apple Vision Pro having WebXR, they don't actually allow those immersive experiences that are natively built into browsers. So a lot of VR videos and the 360 tours, they don't actually work currently. So I looked at Real Vision and Matterport. They're both easy to navigate, of course, with the big screen, and it's fun because you can pull it up. But like I expected to be fully immersed in that panoramic shot and then be able to select the different areas and move around, which maybe you'll bring that in the future, but currently that's not something you can do. Zillow does have their immersion app, and so select listings in certain areas, have that in there. I toured one that was here in Eden Prairie, and it was cool. I mean, it did like a panoramic shot, but it wasn't a full sphere, so you couldn't look up and you couldn't look down. And manipulating the map to move around was kind of awkward. So I think they could do a lot better, but of course this is, we're week 2 right now, and so there's a lot of opportunity there in the future. As far as potential that I see with the Vision Pro, I would really love to see like virtual furniture placement. So to shop online, for a couch or a nightstand, and then have that come into my space. I can move it around, see how it looks there, and then make a purchasing decision based off that and just have it shipped to me would be awesome. We already have the augmented reality on our phone where we can like kind of bring devices and products into our space, but it's flat. So having that 360 rendering that you could walk around and check out would be awesome. The same could be said about remodeling. So there's no reason I couldn't just look around this space and say, well, like, what would this wall look like if it was XYZ paint color? Or, look at this flooring. What would it look like if I upgraded to like a luxury vinyl tile? And then you could get quotes in real time because the headset could measure the space for you, and then they know what needs to be ordered and give you an estimate, and you can get the bid, order it right from there. Same with like renovations. Like think of all the cool things that you could do, and then just virtually looking at the space. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there with the virtual staging, the remodeling, just kind of giving people an idea what a space could look like. So at the end of the day, do I think it's worth it right now? For most people, honestly, the answer is no. It's a pretty expensive headset at $3,500, and right now there's limited content available. They said 600 apps. There's really a handful that are worthwhile. As far as spatial computing goes, it's cool, but like desktop with a couple monitors is still going to be easier to use. If you travel a lot, I think it's great. If you've got the money to spend and you want that 3D, you're really into 3D movies, yeah, it's definitely worth it. If you're an early adopter like me and you just want to, try out the technology and you're in it for the long run, I think it's still great. If you're interested in more Apple Vision Pro content, be sure to subscribe. I'm going to check out the new experiences as they become available, and I'll obviously do an updated video in the future. I also have an Omni Virtuix treadmill on order, so that's one of those multi-directional VR setups, mostly used for gaming. So I'm excited to get that. I'm going to set it up over here, and then I'll be able to do like live streams and videos where you can see my vantage point as well as me running around here. So should be fun, something I'm looking forward to. But thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.